the cloud. Okay, welcome everyone to our shir, and I want to take you to a Gemara in Baba Batra, and it's going to give us a hint about Dinah. So first, let me, I guess, hit share screen maybe, and then that. This again. Where are we here? Which one? Maybe that. And now share. Let's see what we have. Yeah, perfect. So we're in Baba Batra. And lo and behold, who are they talking about? They're talking about Eov. They want to know who was he? When did he live? How long did he live? All kinds of questions about Eov that we're not going to answer all of them. But I guess just for to put you in, I'll go up a little bit and say, go ahead, someone. Welcome, everyone. So here we are. The Gemara cites another opinion with regard to the time when Eov lived. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar both say Eov was among those who ascended from the exile to Eretz Yisrael at the start of the Second Temple period, and his house was the study in Tiberias. Okay, the Gemara raises an objection for what it taught in a Braita. So here's the Braita. The days of Job's life extended from when Israel entered Egypt until they left, indicating that this was the period during which he lived, and not as suggested in the early days of the Second Temple. So now the Gemara answers, say that the Braita means that the duration of his life was that period, meaning let's call it 210 days, maybe, but not 210 years. Thank you, dear. But not that he lived during that time. But so they come back, they continue. An objection. It says 7 prophets. So right now they're working on the assumption he was a rabbi in Tveria. If he's a rabbi in Tveria, right, then he sounds like he's Jewish, right? So now they quote this: 7 prophets prophesied to the nations of the world, and they are Balaam and his father, Peor, right? Bilam and Ben Peor, his father too, Job, Eov, Eliphaz the Temani, Bildad the Shuhite, so let's Shuchi, right? And Sophar the Naamati. And now it says Elihu ben Brachia the Buzi. So Elihu ben Brachel, right? Elihu ben Brachel, so which indicates that Job was not Jewish. He said them, so they answered, according to your reasoning that Job could not have been Jewish because he prophesied to the nations of the world, was Eliyahu ben Brachia not a Jew? And yet he prophesied, it is not written of the family of Ram, so meaning he was from the Mishpachat Avraham. So here we are. So now they keep going. And you're going to wonder, why am I going here, everyone? You're wondering, because we're going to, all of a sudden, Dinah is going to get mentioned here. All of a sudden, I felt that we're going there. Rather, one must explain that Elihu is included in the list because he prophesied to the nations of the world, and so too it may be maintained that Job is included in this list, even though he is Jewish, because he prophesied to the nations of the world. The Gemara asks, but did not all the other prophets, meaning our prophets, prophesy to the nations of the world? All of them. Why then are only these 7 mentions? There, with regard to the other prophets, their main prophecies were directed to Israel, whereas here, with regard to the 7 prophets, their main prophecies were directed to the nations of the world. One more objection. What is taught in the different Braita. There was a certain pious man among the nations of the world, and his name was Job. And he came into the world, Eov, only to receive his reward. The Holy One, blessed be he, brought afflictions upon him, and he began to blaspheme and curse. The Holy One, blessed be he, doubled his reward in this world in order to expel him from the world to come. This Braita states that Job was not a Jew, but rather a Gentile. Okay, we're still working on who was Eov. The Gemara responds, the matter of whether or not Job was Jewish is a dispute between Tanaim. as it is taught in a Braita with regard to the period during which Job lived? Rabbi Elazar said Job lived in the days of the judging of the judges, like the book of Ruth starts, as it is said in connection with Job, behold, all you yourselves have seen it. Why? That you have become altogether vain. Which generation was completely vain? You must say that it was the generation of the judging of the judges, when the people judged the judges, as will be explained shortly. No, they're saying, no, he lived in Achashverosh. Why? Eov's daughters were beautiful. Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha says Eov lived in the days of Achashverosh. And it is stated, and in all the world there were no women found so beautiful as the daughters of Eov. In which generation were beautiful women sought? You might say it was the generation of Achashverosh, chapter 2 in the Megillah. Gemara asks, but why did you not say it was in the days of David? As it is written, they sought a beautiful maiden for David Elimelech, for King David. The Gemara answers, there in the times of David, they searched throughout the territory of Israel, whereas here in the time of Achashverosh, they searched throughout the world, as it is similarly regarded to Job's things. Now, finally, or not quite finally, Rabbi Natan says Job lived in the days of the kingdom of Shva. It said, and Shva fell upon them and took them away. And the rabbi said Job lived in the days of the kingdom of the Chaldim, in the time of Nebuchadnezzar. And it said the Chaldim formed 3 bands, just like Job chapter 1. And some say that Job lived in the days of Jacob, and he married Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov. As it is written here, you see, by the way, you notice it says here, and some say, see, some say they're going to relate to that. Yesh omrim, some say that Job lived in the days of Dinah, and that he married Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov, and it is written, you speak as one of the loathsome women speak. So the word nevela is there. And then we use by Dinah in our Parsha in chapter 34, Nevala, Nasa Nevala B'Yisrael. So this coincides, and this teaches us that the same loathsome act, and so Eov married Dinah. This concludes the text of the Braita. The Gemara adds a thing, and all of these Tanaim hold that Job was a Jew, except for this last opinion that we introduced about marrying Dinah. And some say, according to which Job lived in the time of Jacob, and he was certainly not one of Jacob's sons, so that wouldn't meet our definition of a Jew. So here we have it, a hint of the possibilities of what happened to Dinah. And we're going to, Ira, I want to show you one more pasuk before we be a little more systematic and start. So here we have a pasuk by Yosef. You were talking about Asnat. Vayivaled Yosef be'eretz Mitzrayim asher yaldalo Osnat bat Potifera. So we're born to Yosef in the land of Egypt. That were born, that bore to him, right, from whom Osnat, daughter of Potifera, bore, right, bore to him, the priest of Od, Menashe, and Ephraim, right? Look over here to the Targum Yonatan. Amazing, Targum Yonatan over here. Look what the Targum Yonatan says. Targum Yonatan is like a Tana too, just like the Tanaim and the Gemara in Baba Batra. And to Joseph were born 2 sons in the land of Mitzrayim, who's Osnat, the daughter of Dinah. Ira, Osnat, the daughter of Dinah. All right, we'll be a little more systematic, and we'll find a midrash that tells us a little bit more about how that happened. So in this particular case, it's possible that the father was Shem, this Osnat. We're going to see that later. Okay, so that was sort of an intro. That was sort of an intro and a welcoming. And now, if we can make it, I have a Yalkut Shimoni, which is a later midrash, which is a summary of a lot of this. But let's just work our way slowly for a second. I want to show you a pasuk in Amos that the Midrash quotes, especially the Midrash Rabbah, and they apply this pasuk to the travails and trials of Yaakov. Kasher yanus ish mipnei ha'ari, if someone to run away from a lion, so the Midrash says that's him running away from Lavan. Ufigao hadov, and get attacked by a bear, that's Esav. And now he finally comes into the land, Ba'abayit, v'samach yado alakir, he rested, he thought he was home, unishacho hanachash, the nachash is Shechem. Okay, so we're going to see that in some of these midrashim. So now I want to start with Leah. I want to start with Leah. Who was Leah? Who was this woman that Dinah grew up knowing so closely? Okay. Okay, so here's a beautiful midrash about Leah. You find that this happened to Leah after she had given birth to 6 sons. She foresaw in a dream that Yaakov would ultimately have 12 sons. Since she had already given birth to 6 sons and was pregnant with her 7th child, and the 2 handmaidens had each borne 2 sons, making 10 in all, and then Yosef had been born, but not Binyamin, Leah arose and pleaded with the Holy One, saying, Master of the universe, 12 tribes are to be descended from Yaakov, and since I have already given birth to 6 sons and am pregnant with a 7th child, and each of the handmaidens has borne 2 sons, which accounts for 10 sons, if the child within me is a male, my sister will not bear even as many sons as the handmaiden. The Holy One, blessed be he, hearkened to her prayer and converted the fetus in her womb into a female, as it is said, and afterwards she bore a daughter. The words ve'achar, that's come up, look up here, ve'achar, that's a unusual word, ve'achar yalda, right? So like saying a chair, a change. The masculine forms of afterwards is written in this verse and not the feminine form, thus signifying that the fetus was originally that of a male child. One more, and then we'll continue on. Why did Leah call her Dinah? Because the righteous Leah had pleaded the justice, Din, before the Holy One, blessed be he. The Holy One, blessed be he, said to her, you are merciful, and so I shall be merciful to her forthwith. And God remembered Rachel. So in the merit of Leah, Hashem gave Rachel Binyamin. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful midrash. Okay, let's
can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought we're not supposed to like ever pray for something that already exists. In other words, you're not supposed to, if a person's pregnant, you're not supposed to pray for a boy or a girl because the condition already exists, and we're not expecting God to change something like that. No?
So good. This story though is that Leah saw through prophecy that there would be 12 children, 12 tribes. So this story is a little more complex. And so normal behavior would be what you just said, Ira, normal behavior. But this was extenuating behavior, and she literally spoke to God, and God agreed with her. Yeah, yeah. But I hear your point is good. Your point is good. Okay. Onward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to see some of the midrashim that we sort of saw in Rashi and in some of the others. So those will kind of go more quickly. I wanted to show you some that you hadn't seen. So it says, Vateitzei Dinah bat Leah, right? The daughter of Leah went out to sea. Was she not also Yaakov's daughter? Indeed, but scripture associates her with that of her mother. Leah's daughter Dinah loved to roam about just as her mother did. So that's a midrash that we saw with the word yatzanit. How do we know this about Leah? Is it written? And Leah went out to meet, right? She had said, Leah lasadet, to meet Yaakov. Is okay. So that's that midrash that we saw. And I guess I brought these because it's a summary of now Shechem tried to convince him in words, and his father said to Yaakov and said about the dowry and the mohar and the matan. Remember, so much dowry and gift. And he said, I know that her grandfather Avram was a prince, but I am also a prince. Yaakov replied, he was not called a prince, but an ox, as it is said. And Avram ran to the oxen. Much grain can be harvested through the strength of an ox. That's the Proverbs. But you are an ass, he said to him, chamor. And it is impossible for an ox and an ass to plow together. And it said, so Yaakov was telling him, this is not going to work. Thou must not plow with an ox and an ass together. The prophet declared, you seek your own misfortune. And it said, the thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, give thy daughter to my son to wife. And there passed by a wild beast that were in Lebanon and trod down the thistle. Right. So, and it continues, right? The thistle refers to Chamor, and the cedar that was in Lebanon alludes to Jacob, who was compared to a cedar, as it says, he shall grow as a cedar in Lebanon. Give thy daughter to such refers to Shechem, for he said to him, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. So I want to get to that, the language of the one that, okay. So I guess we covered that. Let's go on. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just hit, I hit it and I closed it. So let me find find that text and get to the link. I'm sorry, everyone.
That's okay. That's okay.
So I think I wanted to do Pirkei the Rebbe Lezer. I think this was the one. Okay, so here's the story of Dinah, right? When Yaakov went into his house in the land of Canaan, the serpent bit him. That was the verse in Amos that we read. And who was the serpent? This was Shechem, the son of Hamor. Because the daughter of Yaakov was abiding in the tents, she did not go into the streets. What did Shechem, the son of Hamor, do? He brought dancing girls who were also playing on pipes in the streets. So Dinah went forth to see those girls who were making merry, and he seized her, and he slept with her, and she conceived and bore Osnat. The sons of Israel said that she should be killed, for they said that now people would say in all the land there was an immoral daughter in the tents of Yaakov. What did Yaakov do? Here's Yaakov. What did Yaakov do? He wrote the holy name upon a golden plate and suspended it about her neck and sent her away. She went her way. Everything is revealed before the Holy One, blessed be he. And Michael, the angel, descended and took her and brought her down to Egypt to the house of Potipharah, because Osnat was destined to become the wife of Joseph. Now, the wife of Potipharah was barren, and Osnat grew up with her as a daughter. When Joseph came down to Egypt, he married her. As it says, as it is said, and he gave him to wife Osnat, the daughters of Potipharah, priest of On. Okay. One more here, and then we'll this was we're trying to find out whether Shimon and Levi were praised or the opposite. So Shimon and Levi were moved by a great zeal on account of the immorality, as it said, and they said, should he deal with our sister as a harlot? That's the last verse of the chapter. And each man took his sword and slew all the men of Shechem. When Yaakov heard of this, he became sorely afraid, for he said, now all the people of the land will hear, and they will gather together against me and smite me. He began to curse the wrath of his sons, as he said later at the end of Breshit, right? Arula Pamki Az. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce. And he also cursed their sword in the Greek language, for he said, weapons of violence are their sword. All the kings of the earth heard thereof and feared very much, saying, if two sons of Yaakov have done all these great things, if they all band together, they will be able to destroy the world. And the dread of the Holy One, blessed be he, fell upon them, as it said, and the terror of God was upon the cities, and they did not pursue after the sons of Yaakov. Okay. Let's see here. So this one, maybe I brought so here it praised, this is the verse in Proverbs, but a man of understanding will be silent. So here the Midrash, Yaakov heard that he defiled Dinah, his daughter, and his sons were with his livestock in the field. And Jacob kept silent until their arrival. Jacob heard, but a man of understanding will be silent. Isi ben Avraham said 4 verses have no resolution, and they are, it will be lifted se'et, right, and cursed arur, that's at the at Yaakov's bracha at the end, and will vikam in Deuteronomy, shaped like almond flowers, mishukadim, and Rabbi Tanchum adds this one, the sons of Yaakov came from the fields when they heard, the men were saddened. And so should not be done even among the nations of the world. This is what Rashi said, the Ramban said the Pshat might not follow this, as from the moment that the world was stricken in the generation of the flood, they stood and fenced themselves away from licentiousness, which the now here's the languages that was in Rashi too, but it's amazing Midrash, the one I put in the notes, even from the most evil man, the cosmos and Hashem learn from his, I guess, feelings and use of words. So let's do it in the English. Hamor spoke with them, saying, with 3 expressions of fondness, the Holy One, blessed be he, expressed his fondness for Israel, with cleaving, with desiring, and with wanting. So with cleaving, but you who cleave to the Lord, with desiring, is it not for your multitude that the Lord desired you? Chashak. And with wanting, all the nations will praise you as you will be a wanted land in Malachi. We learned, and how do we learn this? We learn it from the portion of this wicked one. So I thought this midrash was fascinating to look at again here, literally as if we're learning from the bad guy. With cleaving, his soul cleaved to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. With desiring, the soul of my son desires your daughter. With wanting, because he wanted Jacob's daughter. Rabbi Abba bar Elisha adds 2 more. With love and with speech, the verses right after that. With love, I have loved you, avdich. With speech, speak to the heart, Dabrua Lev Yerushalayim, speak to the heart of Jerusalem. And we learn it from the portion of this wicked one, with he loved the young woman and he spoke tenderly to her heart. Okay, I see that we're approaching a half hour of recording, so let me jump to the Yalkut Shimoni and then we'll shut off the recording and have a discussion. So I'm just going to summarize here. There's no English on the Yalkut. The Yalkut is a very late midrash. It's not 100% clear, but just like the word says, Yalkut, it's assembled. So you have here things that are in much earlier midrashim. So here's the discussion of Vayikhu Shnei Bnei Yaakov, Shimon v'Levi. The two sons of Yaakov took their sword. Mimashma shene'emar Shimon v'Levi, Eini yodea she'em Bnei Yaakov. So why does it say, Shimon v'Levi, of course, are sons of Yaakov, but they did not take Shelo natlu eitzah Yaakov. They did not take advice from Yaakov, Shimon v'Levi, Shelo natlu eitzah mizeh mizeh. They didn't even take advice. They didn't collude even together. But it says Achei Dinah. Wait, only these two? Only Shimon and Levi are the brothers of Dinah? She was a sister to all of the tribes. Ella, here this midrash gives them praise. Lefisha natnu nafsham alea nikret al shmam. They were moser nefesh. They were giving their life risking their life. They were moser nefesh to redeem Dinah, nikret al shmam. Just like so it's named just on them, just like Miriam when sometimes it said, like in Baalotcha, it says Achot Aaron. It doesn't say Achot Aaron and Moshe. It says V'chi Achot Aaron bilvad ela halo Achot shneim. She was a sister to both Aaron. Fisha natan Aaron nafsho. Aaron was paying the most attention to her at that moment, so it's called on him. So here we have an example of Shimon and Levi being called out for praise. So I think I'll stop the recording now, and then we'll talk.